Okay, so it says I'm alive. I am live life. I'm life. Anyway, today I didn't want to say a lot of stuff related to English. I just wanted to talk about INFPs. I feel like maybe it's just because I've been listening to some music, like really calming music, and all of a sudden it just makes me think. This is not a new like a new topic. Probably there's tons and tons of videos of INFPs talking about how they feel about money and work, money and jobs. And of course, this is a cool excuse, if you let me say that, if you might, if you will. Yeah, this is a cool way. This is a good excuse to practice my English. So yeah, I was thinking this morning that it could be also like an electronic diary for me sometimes, when I can just say something, whatever I want to say in just a few, and I mean, it's like instead of typing, you're just recording yourself. um, but yeah, if you're an INFP, you know what I'm talking about. You're going to love the title of this video. And thank you so much. I always see two people watching. Now I feel really skeptical. Probably it's just like myself watching myself. If yeah, but anyway, it's just what it is. Um, yeah, so if you're an INFP, you're gonna understand what I'm talking about. If you don't know what an INFP is, basically is it's a personality, or it's a person who's got this personality, uh, and I would say that in short terms, INFPs are just introvert people, just like that, introvert people. And I think I am one of those, despite the fact that I seem to be pretty extrovert, because, I normally tend to help others with languages like Spanish. I have worked before as a teacher, and in order to succeed as a teacher, I believe you need to be a little bit extroverted sometimes, because you're exposed to people. And yeah, you have to be a little bit extrovert or extroverted. I'm still struggling with these two words, extrovert or extroverted. I don't know which one I should use at this point. um, well, the first thing is that jobs have always been a cross for me. I've struggled a lot with jobs since I have memory. When I was a kid, of course, I just wanted to have some money for myself to buy something. I remember the very first thing that I wanted to buy when I was a kid, and probably most of you would relate to this feeling. It was, I wanted to get a phone. I remember I wanted to get a phone, and uh, that's why I started working. Probably was my first official formal job. And yeah, it wasn't pleasant or pleasurable at all. It was really hard work or a job. It was a really difficult job in terms of uh, the time, because I was working like 12 hours a day. I remember it was in summer, on vacation, and I would start working at this place at around 7 in the morning, and I would finish, or yeah, I would go back home at 7. So it was like pretty exhausting job in my own opinion. I was probably around 16 years old. Jeez, it's been a long time. And I just didn't know all the things that were in my future, like all the jobs that I was gonna be doing and all the bad experiences. Of course, I think that it's necessary to work. It's necessary to have these experiences. But as an INFP, I think most of my experiences were really bad. So if you're an INFP again, or if you're an introverted, I need to look up for this because I'm gonna get crazy. So introvert versus introverted. What's the difference? Well, they mean the same, but of course, introvert is a noun and introverted an adjective. Oh, there you go. There you go. Woo-hoo-hoo. Finally. Oh, so I can say I'm an introvert, but also I can say I am an introverted person. I think that it is. Anyway, like I said, basically this job was let me see if I can describe it. This is a good way to practice my English. I'm always scared of describing things because I feel like I'm always making a mistake. So yeah, this job was in this big store where people can find many things, like things related to uh, like the things you need for to make a party. Like they would sell toys, stuff for school. Like they would sell a lot of stuff. It was a huge store, and my job basically was to help the clients to find the stuff they were looking for. So, for example, one client would be like, "Hey, I need this kind of paper, and also I need this plates, and I need like many things. It doesn't have to be. It didn't have to be necessarily related to parties. Like they would sell many different things, so many different things. But normally, like the average client would be looking for, I don't know, a specific kind of plate or different sizes of cups or different kinds of materials to work with. And so I remember one of the rules that, whew, it was really hard for me. And of course, I believe for most of my coworkers was the same thing. But I think as an introvert, uh, something that I really struggled with sometimes, when just sometimes, is with rules, especially with those rules that have nothing to do with actually the work. So one of these rules was that we couldn't sit at all. Like it was 12 hours minus minus the 30 minutes that we had for a break where we could eat something and do whatever we wanted to do. So it was legit. It was 11 and a half hours working, standing all the time. We couldn't sit. If they for some reason caught you sitting, they would be like, "Hey, dude, you cannot do that." And yeah, that rule was so mean in my opinion. Like, why we couldn't just get some chairs and sit. The second rule I remember pretty well. Everybody had a rag and we had to clean constantly, like all the time. If there wasn't a client with you, you had to clean with your rag. Doesn't matter if the things were already cleaned. At some point, I think that after the first week, I just learned that it didn't matter if the things were already cleaned. You just had to move your hand basically with the rag on the things and pretending that you were cleaning. But they wanted to see you doing that. Sounds more like slavery at some point. Okay, so I didn't like that because I remember thinking like, hey, if you would let us, thinking about, you know, there was like the owner, he had his office in that building. He had two other stores or three other stores. The same store, it was like a chain, like a little chain in the city. um, but you know, sometimes I was just thinking like, dude, if you just let us sit having some like a chair or something, we could work better here. Like, it's 12 hours, and while we were working hard standing and cleaning 20 hours nonstop, he was just sitting in his office, in his cool chair, breech chair. Anyway, so I remember thinking about that, and also thinking like, hey, you know, like, things are already cleaned. I don't understand why you have to see us cleaning. I think that, those two things were really hard for me to understand. Of course, we just worked there for 2 weeks or something like that. It's really interesting that we just worked for like 2 weeks. It was just for the summer. And I say we because it was my brother too, and that was a thing. I don't know, like, probably after this experience, like my first formal job, formal, you know, um, I started realizing that, hey, maybe jobs are gonna be really difficult, and I didn't know. I wasn't even close to th- what I was going to head, or what I was going to face in the next years. But yeah, that job taught me a big lesson. I remember that probably, yeah, before we finished working there, before the last 2 days, um, I think the guy, he didn't want to pay us. Like, he was saying that we weren't working well or something, and he didn't want to pay us all the money he said he was going to pay. It wasn't a lot of money, but you know, as a kid, sounds like a lot of money, especially if you have a dream. And my dream was to buy my phone. Um, and also, I remember that was the first time that how can I say that? Yeah, that's really hard because, you know, in some jobs, depending on what you do, you have some specific tools to work, and there is this kind of, it looks like a cart, but it's not a cart. It's more like just like a frame. Yeah, it looks like a frame, like a little bed frame, and it has some wheels on, so you can like drag it around, and you can put things on, and you can carry this thing, so you can move it from one place to another. So I don't know what that is in English. In Spanish, is called un diablito, like a little demon. And it's so accurate because those things are so dangerous, so heavy, especially after you put all the stuff that you need to carry. They become really heavy, and probably that was the first time that I would work with one of these things. And I remember probably 1 or 2 days before we stopped working there, the owner, yeah, it was the owner, pretty sure, he sent us to another one of the other stores. It was like 5-10 minutes walking or something like that, but we had to carry like a lot of stuff from one store to another, in the traffic on the street. Like, we had to walk in the street with all, you know, a lot of people walking around, a lot of cars, motorcycles, and you know, all the dangers that come with the streets. And I remember feeling so bad, like so exposed, so miserable for a second. And it was still a job. You know, there was a contract between Do you use that? I don't know. There was a contract and all that, but this guy was just taking advantage of people. And after that, I remember he didn't want to pay us all the money because I don't remember. It's been a long time, but I remember he was like, "No, you guys haven't. You have been like just not working. You're just wasting time." And because he had cameras, he had cameras everywhere, and also he had some really loyalty workers there, probably people who couldn't, find a different job, and they didn't have enough to like enough skills, I believe, to work somewhere else, and they became like, like the workers there for many years. They were working there for many years, and they were like, more than just regular workers. Still, there wasn't any difference between us. Like this guy would treat us the same way to everyone, but these people who were like the ones that were working there for some years, they became kind of like more like special workers, if that makes sense. Oh, what happened? Oh, nothing. Yeah, so he didn't want to pay us, and at the end I think he did. And I remember him like just like calling us names, and like being really, really, really mean to us. We were just kids, and we probably didn't care, or we did care, but nothing happened. Rather than just listening to him and just waiting for our money and then just leave. Well, the cool part of this is that finally we got our phones, because my brother wanted to buy a phone too. I think the cool part of this is realizing that actually the phones weren't that cool. I was expecting in my immature mind that I was going to get a really fancy phone, and of course, in those years, to have a really like a cool phone, like a really good one, they were really expensive, and we ended up buying these simple phones. I still remember it was like a little phone this big. It was really small, like you could hide it in your hand. It was really cool. Like at least, well, my hand is not like super small, so I guess that counts. But like if you compare it with my actual phone, it's like my current phone is like too big. But it was like enough small, probably, I don't know, something like this. Yeah, no, this is too big. It was really small. And I was so excited. It was a really, really cheap phone. And I had it for some years, like, I don't know, 2, 3 years, probably something. No, maybe less than that, like 1 year, maybe 2 years, no more than that. And something that I learned was that actually, sometimes it sounds unfair, but actually, if like this idea that the world sells to you that you can get whatever you want is actually not true, and it's like a vicious cycle. Because I remember after having this phone, I just realized like, hey, my phone is so lame. I want the real phone, like the phone that people show in the movies or stuff like that. And actually, it was just like stupid. I think at that point, I didn't really think too much about it. But now that I realized, I was not happy because I didn't have the best phone. So all these thoughts, all these things that happened to me, I think I was just aware because of my personality. Most people wouldn't care. I think that most people wouldn't care about the first phone too much. But yeah, that's what I remember. It was an interesting experience. I wouldn't no, actually, I would love to get back to this place. Maybe in another video, I can show you. I can put just Google Maps around here and show you my my first job. That would be interesting. Also, it would be cool for me to see that again. And I don't know, just to remember, I made some good friends. It was interesting because in 2 weeks, I remember there was especially there was this lady. She was older than my brother and me, but she was really nice. She was really cool, and we kept our friendship for many years. At this point, of course, I don't talk to her. It's been like probably 5 years, or no, not 5 years, like 3 years, probably 4 years since we talked last time. I mean, we didn't talk a lot, just like texting or sending messages through Facebook or something like that. But yeah, that was it. I hated that job so much. I hated that man, that the owner. He was really mean. Just picture him. He was the typical rich man who wants to take advantage of everyone. His office was so fancy, like luxurious. I don't know how to say lujoso. Yeah, he's got, like, all the cool things that a rich person would have. And I don't know, he was a character, definitely. He was an interesting character. um and like I said, that was just going to be the beginning of my, um how can I say that, the beginning of uh my suffering. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just exaggerating, I think. Well, I think this is the end of this talking. Again, if you're an INFP, I would love to hear from you. What was your first job? I wonder if you had the same job. Well, probably not, but like a similar job. And did you like it? Probably you didn't. I didn't like that job. I already said this many times. But yeah, let me know. And yeah, thank you for watching, I guess.